Our lives as individuals and as a nation have undoubtedly been altered by the recent global health crisis. As we adjust to a new way of being, where do we find the inspiration to once again renew our energies? We trace a cycle of life that begins from childhood, in games and sports, in rites of courtship and marriage, in transitions to an afterlife free from all pain and disease. All stages marked by the melding of tradition, skill, memory, and unity. Here is what we most need now: a renewal of our bodies, hearts, and spirits. This is Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride. I have often heard many parents lamenting the fact that their children spend so much time playing with their gadgets. While gadgets have surely become necessities for online learning, it cannot be denied that the rules of engagement do take away a vital part of our own childhood. So are we just being old fogies when we lament the loss of connection? Physical connections that engage our bodies in team efforts. Mental and emotional connections that build bonds of friendship. Social connections that link young individuals to a bigger society and its expectations. In these connections, we learn ways of being, thinking, behaving, and relating. I don't know how many of you will be able to say this with pride, but much of what I learned about being part of a community came from the childhood games I played. So imagine my delight when the children of the Ramon Obusan Folkloric Group and Foundation allowed us to record them at play. These games are taught to them by the foundation as part of the children's dance classes. The children are encouraged to play them every time they are in the Bahay Nikuya Foundation. A cultural center housing the legacy, knowledge, and research of the late national artist Ramon Obusan. The Bahay Nikuya is located in the middle of a lower-income neighborhood in Pasay. The ancestral home built by the late national artist is in every way stately. But there is a homey, unpretentious quality made evident by the noise from neighboring houses. The comings and goings of students and dancers, the very proximity of a real Filipino community living in modern times, coping with urban problems. The children of this Pasay community are often invited to come and spend their time at the Bahay Nikuya. The ways, the traditions, the games and dances they learn here are not removed or distant from the realities of their modern lives. While many traditional Filipino games like sungka, tex, trumpo, and jolens require actual material toys, the ones that seem to evoke the most childhood memories are those that require only a line drawn on the ground or an open space. With so little, with only energy and imagination and friendly competition, so much can be enjoyed. So now, we play.
Tagu-tagu maliwanag ang buwan. Wala sa likod, wala sa harap. Pagbilang ko 10, nakatago na kayo.
Taguan is hide and seek, whether played in the Philippines or elsewhere. Imagine how it is to play taguan in an orchard full of fruit-bearing trees or in the wide open fields.
Tagu-taguan is my favorite game because I think it's something that is enjoyable even for adults to this day, right? So the idea is one person closes his eyes and stays in a base, counts. Normally as kids we would say to count to 20. You can say count to 50, count to 10, and then the object of the game is for the it to look for, or the taya to look for everybody. So find the person, and then the first one to hit the base is saved. So if the taya hits the base, finds you, hits the base, so you're out. But if you get to the base before the taya runs the base, then you're saved.
Dexterity in a clear, precise aim. The ability to strategize. All these are skills developed in tumbang preso or tumbang lata. With only a small pebble or one's own rubber slipper, a player must try to dislodge a can inside a drawn circle. The players stand at the toe line, goaded by the it. In Patintero, there are 2 teams, one made up of blockers, the other of runners. As the runners dash, the blockers must try and tag them without going beyond the line they are supposed to guard.
So Patintero starts with 2 teams. No? You can play with a small group of people or with a large community. What's fun about Patintero is that it teaches you a lot of cooperation and strategy. You start with 6 lines or 3 lines. The object of the game is to try to get to the end and come back without getting touched. So the opponent will have to prevent you from passing the lines and touch you so you can get out. Then you have variations where you can actually add a patotot. And a patotot is the one person that goes across, the 3 lines. And that becomes really tricky because without your knowing, you're focused on one player, on the person you have to pass, and then here comes the patotot out of nowhere. So it just makes it a little more fun, a little tricky and challenging.
Pico is hopscotch. In school quadrangles or on the street, it is a game of dexterity and coordination as players seek to retrieve a thrown object by correctly hopping on a corresponding set of blocks drawn on the ground.
What's fun with Pico is that you can draw your own lines. So the idea is to try to go from 1 until 8 or 1 up to 10. It depends how many you want to put. And you go first, you put as a kid, I used to call it the pato, but some people call it the pamato. So you throw it, say like you throw it in box number 1, you're supposed to skip that. So you start with box number 2, and then 3, 4, and then you go on. And then when you come back, you have to pick it up without stepping on the lines, and then start again, and then the next one. You go to box number 2, and the whole thing, you just keep hopping to the end, and then you come back. And then when you trip or you step on a line, then you're out. And then it's the next player. So it's a game that you can actually even play alone.
A line or pattern drawn with chalk, a can, a pebble, or rubber slipper, the needs of these games are simple. What a child brings to the game is spirit, strength, camaraderie, and imagination. One word sums up the qualities developed by these traditional games: Maabilidan, a quality that has enabled Filipinos to mature and thrive. Maabilidad, mapagkaibigan, maliksi, alerto, mapagmasid. Such are the qualities developed by our traditional games. In hindsight, many of us who knew these games must be asking, why did I enjoy these so much, or where was the logic? The questions we ask in our adulthood are even sillier than the games themselves. Many of these are based on whim and the element of unexplainable fun that only children with their bravery and open spirits will readily accept. One such game is pitik-bulag. What is the use of trying to find some formal rules in the light pitik or the subsequent guesswork? The fun is in the inspired silliness that inspires instant laughter. In luksong tinik, two teams get ready to jump over an imaginary barrier of thorns, creatively shaped by the feet and hands of two seated teammates. The goal is for the team to successfully jump over the barrier without touching it.
O ito, kaya nyo ba to? Oo, gusto mo ipakita ko pa sa'yo eh.
Luksong tinik is with the feet and the hands. So the object of the game is for kids to jump over. So it starts with level 1, and then the next foot comes here, level 2, and then you have your hands and then the other hand. So it involves two players. I mean, two people who are face to face, and then they start doing this, and then the object of the game is to be able to jump over without hitting the hands or the fingers.
A variant of the game is luksong baka, where crouching figures replace the barrier of thorns. This time, only the hands can be used to vault or spring over the crouching cow, which can get bigger and bigger as the game goes on. Sipa is a traditional Filipino children's game that involves nothing simpler but more challenging than a woven rattan ball. Although in its simplest and most popular form, a lead weight wrapped in papel de hapon, both are light enough to kick into the air. The aim is to keep the sipa in the air through swift, repeated kicks.
Sipa is another fun game that you can play also by yourself. It has a lot to do with body movement and rhythm. So you play it while kicking it up with the inside of your ankles. There are variations also where some kids do it with their elbow and some can do it with their hand. So it's pretty fun, and it's a game of skill because it's padamihan ng kicks, right? How many times you can kick it and leave it up in the air using your foot. I wish that they would be able to go back to a time together with their parents and their grandparents and be able to connect. Because I think when you play traditional Filipino games, it brings a sense of nostalgia, you know, for the older ones. So I think in our world today, we lack already the social interaction or the connectedness. Relationships are being lost already. And I think this one is one way that a lot of kids and families and friends can actually connect. So it's so cute to see the lolo saying, uy, linalaro ko to noon, you know, so this is how we do it. So I think there's something wonderful when people get to connect. And when you connect families, you connect generations, and you build bonds between people, real friendships, real bonding. If kids were given the opportunity to be in an outdoor space, to run, to meet friends, you know, and to come together in a community and be able to celebrate wins and learn from losses and be able to have wonderful social skills, I think they would choose that because they will always go back to that as a memory. I think we build memories that way, and you know how memories are really the tabernacle of the soul when you think about it, right? So it's very nice when you talk even to older generations, and everybody has a wonderful memory of a Filipino game, a traditional game that they used to play as kids. Everybody has something they can connect with. They will always say, I was the best patotot. I knew the best places to hide in my school or in my community. I was the best taya, you know, I was the fastest runner. Everybody has a memory, and that's what I wish for kids today.
Sipa Salama and Sipa Samanggis are highly skilled variants of the Filipino children's game where the aim is to keep the sipa in the air for as long as possible or use it as a projectile to challenge an opponent's skill. Among the Maranao and Maguindanao, the game has been embellished by the use of formal courtwear. The 4 to 6 members of two opposing teams are required the use of the malong and the appropriate headgear or chuki. These lend the competition a courtly air. The dalapi is a carved shin guard that is used to propel the rattan ball even higher. These are miniature works of art embellished with okir motifs.
Yung okir na ito, sa sinaunang panahon na mayroon naman nakaigil na yung kwan dito, parang sarimanok din. Tapos, itong kahoy na ito, para mangga, ito galing ito sa puno ng mangga, yung pinitas doon. Yung pinutol na mangga, medyo, doon kami kumay dahil matigas yung medyo nakaedad na.
The kandat are the colorful sashes that are whipped in the air with every kick. The kandat make lashing and pistol shot sounds as the players kick the ball, an oral and visual accent that lends a dance-like quality to the sport. In Sipa Salama, the aim of the players is not to let the rattan ball touch the ground. The winning team is the one who can keep it up in the air for the longest time. In Sipa Salama, individual players vie for prizes within the small boxes hanging from the manggis, an artificial tree structure raised many meters from the ground. The objective is to hit the boxes with a rattan ball to make them fall. The one who falls more boxes wins. In both Sipa Salama and Sipa Salama, the visual arts, textiles, okir motifs, and the pistol shot sound of the kanda every time it is whipped complement the manly grace and vigor that transform the children's game we know into a combined art, dance, and sport for warriors.
Ito'y talagang mahalagang laro sa aming tribe. At aking masabi, ihati din sa kanila, aming mga matataas din na opisyalis, dapat bigyan ng magandang landas nito na kanila isuporta.
Marami sa mga kabataan dati, no, ang lumaki sa ganitong paglalaro. Lalabas lang sila ng bahay, nandoon ng kaibigan, makikipaglaro na sila. No? Makakita ng isang lata, maglalaro ng tumbang preso, makakakita ng chalk, gagawa sa floor para sila ay maglaro. No? Makakita ng isang sirang tsinelas, gagawin nila yon. No? Makakita ng isang kalaro, no? Sabi nga natin, sila ay maglalaro ng taguan. No? Napakahalagang isang kinalakihan ng maraming kabataan noong araw ang maglaro sa kalsada, maglaro ng mga tinatawag nga nating larong Pinoy. No? Dito tayo nahubog ng ating pakikipagkapwa-tao. Dito ka rin natuto ng losing and winning. No? Na maraming kabataan noon ang dinala itong bagay na ito hanggang sa kanilang paglaki. May kasabihan tayo, everything I learned in playing. Ito yung mga mahalagang skills, sabi nga natin, sa pakisalamuha natin paglaki natin. Alam niya na yung mga nakakasalamuha niya ay real people, no? Na may emosyon, nasasaktan. Kaya pag lumaki tayo, na tayo ay marunong sabihin lahat ng ito, isa ka ng magaling na tao, no? Isa ka ng pwedeng makisalamuha paglaki mo.
Competing in these simple games, joyfully, with grace, humor, and a sense of community has led countless Filipino children on a journey of self-discovery, integration, and self-worth. Hopefully, having inculcated the values of sportsmanship, they are ready for a life that brings both defeat and victory. But as we will see in the succeeding episodes of this season, games and competitions are not for children only. For many indigenous Filipinos, there is much to be learned when a competition of physical strength becomes a ritual of integration, a means of affirming their identity and upholding a tradition. In the punok of the Ifugao, we will see how a friendly competition has been set into the cycle of the rice harvest amidst the raging waters of a river, with the menfolk of two villages pushing and pulling their way into victory. Kakaibang sigla, an energy to be further discovered, a vital part of Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.